I have finally gotten a hold of the keys to a car that I'm more anxious to drive than my upcoming AMG GTR, and that is the new E63S 4Matic Plus. And there's many reasons for that. Where having owned an AMG GTS, I can imagine how a GTR may be a progression of the same sort of ideas, a similar but far more aggressive feel. But this E63 has never had a similar version in the UK. Its smaller C63 sibling is a completely different rear-wheel drive car. So what makes it so different? The big change comes from the fact that this is a four-wheel drive AMG, utilising AMG's new 4Matic Plus system. The engine is an updated version of the C63 and GT 4-litre V8, this time producing 612 brake horsepower. This engine then, paired with the 4Matic Plus, allows the car to rocket to 0 to 60 in a mere 3.4 seconds. That's faster on paper than the AMG GTR. This Stage 2 version of the engine now has two twin-scroll turbochargers, and it's also paired to a new 9-speed transmission, combined for the first time with a wet clutch, allowing for even quicker gear changing. All the technological advancements of the normal E-Class carry across, but this car also features cylinder deactivation that we first saw in the SLK 55. So in comfort mode, the engine switches from 8 cylinders to 4, giving much better fuel saving. But of course the main headline is the drift mode. It allows the car to become completely rear-wheel drive. The result? I really need to drive this car and understand just what it is. The first test of any true AMG is getting that startup sound right. So let's configure what mode we want to be in. Exhaust on, of course. I'm going to give you some initial thoughts on the E63, and they're only going to be initial because, as a lot of you will know, on Instagram we're getting a E63S Edition 1 into the Velocity fleet, so we really want to save that meaty content for that car, where we'll go into the details. There'll probably be a dedicated episode as well to it, but for now let's just get some initial thoughts on what this car is like to drive. So surely the first thing we've got to test is this 4Matic Plus. Let's try it out. Holy shit! There is just no delay at all. I actually understand now how this is faster in a straight line than the AMG GTR. Immediately you can see a massive difference. Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, let's talk about the sound first. If you're used to C63S or GT, those two cars are very similar, if just the difference being in volume. The sound from this is totally different. It's more metallic, it's a bit deeper, it's really different. On a C63 or a GT, when you're travelling along normally, just going through the gears, you always get a rumble in the background, and it's quite a pronounced one, but it's not unpleasant and it's not disturbing. It's just a constant V8 rumble. You don't get that in the E63 when you're in Sport Plus, but that's actually really quite good, because when you do eventually put the power down, sound floods the cabin like it never has in the E-Class before. Now the previous generation, and I got asked quite a bit in the live video that I did on Instagram earlier today, that what is this car like compared to the previous gen? And the previous gen, if nothing else, was lacking in the sound department. And you understand that, okay, it's an executive car and it's got to have that executive side to it firmly implanted in. But what this E63 has managed to do is, if you're driving around normally, you don't get the rumble, but as soon as you put your foot down, your heart pumps and the sound is just incredible. Now we must bear in mind that this car isn't completely running yet. It is a pre-production car as well, which is why it's missing the plus on the 4Matic badge as a very small example. But I can tell you immediately that this is nothing like what AMG has on offer, certainly in the UK at this point. It doesn't feel like you'd have a natural progression from a C63 to the previous E63, or an M3 saloon to an M5 saloon, or an E63 to an S63. This is nothing like that. Don't think of this as a big C63, because it's not. It really, really isn't. It is its own animal. It's got its own character. The 4Matic has given it. It just makes it like a supercar. I mean, this is, dare I say, Ferrari quick. And that's in a saloon. The great thing about these different characters is now you've got the quintessential AMGs, as I see them, which are the C63s across the board with their rear-wheel drive and their V8s. Then you've got the flagship, which is the GT, which is taking that same idea further. You have the A45 and the rest of the 45 series, which are very much have their own character. They're awesome little pocket rockets. And the 43 series have joined that side of things as well. But now this is a totally different feel, a totally different proposition for a potential owner to consider, and it's a really exciting one. This really does nod to the original hammer in that name. It is literally a sledgehammer every time you put your foot down and the car just rockets you into the distance. I can't wait to do more dynamic stuff with this and do a proper full-on review. But I hope you've enjoyed that initial look. So if you have any questions or things you'd like to see in the full review that we do, just send us a comment down below, or go on my Instagram and you can comment and DM me, and I'll make sure that we try and get as much of the content that you want to see into the full review. But thank you for watching, and please do like and subscribe and share. It's of course a small channel at the moment, but hopefully we're bringing you some things that as a potential owner or as an owner you'd like to see, or if you just love cars, you'd love to hear some of this apocalyptic music. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Next time on Remove Before Race, we pick up a brand new performance coupe, but for Mr.AMG, it's a blasphemous choice. Shortly thereafter, I will say goodbye to my AMG GTS in a farewell video.